Welcome to Elementary, Mondays at 6. I am delighted to share with you my guest today. And I hope you find the show interesting and that we bring you a ton of good stuff. So my guest today is going to ask me to join any minute now. And once we do, we'll get started.
Hi,
Hello. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I am
Thank you
so
for having
delighted. Yeah, I'm so delighted that you accepted my
me.
invitation. And yeah, so we've been having a little bit of lag problems the last couple of weeks, and hopefully today we won't. But I'm excited to get started. So
Yeah, me.
sorry about that. So introduce yourself and your Instagram handle.
Sure. Okay, so my name is Melissa Douglas. I'm from Douglas Law Firm, and our IG handle should be douglas.lawfirm on Instagram.
Excellent. You know, I interview people every week, and today I'm interviewing you, and I'm actually a little nervous. It's so funny because I'm like, oh my God, today I'm interviewing a lawyer. But thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm excited because you will, just once you reveal what part of law you do, I'm sure everyone else will be excited too. So, what inspired you to become a lawyer? And, how did you get started in the legal profession? Oh, did you freeze? Oh, yes. Your request.
Sorry, what happened. I think I got booted
There
out.
you are.
Sorry.
Yes.
I did hear your
Oh my.
question though. So, what inspired me to become a lawyer? Yeah, you know what? It's
Mm-hmm.
weird. Ever since I was a kid, I've always said I want to be a lawyer, and I just had nothing else that I wanted to be. And it just turned out that that's what I did. I had my mind set on something, and it just happened. And I love it. There's nothing I would change. But yeah, ever since I was a kid, I always said I'm going to be a lawyer. I actually thought I was going to be a corporate lawyer or criminal lawyer, but that's just not, definitely couldn't do criminal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a tough one, I would say, the criminal piece. Yeah, tough, tough. My daughter's a paralegal, and she did a little thing with the courts, and so for a while there. Are you? Oh, sorry. Can you still hear me? I think you froze again. I'm so sorry. We're having some technical difficulties, but we'll be with you shortly. Just hang in there.
I'm here. You know what? I turned
Oh, there
off
you are.
my,
Oh,
I turned off my Wi-Fi. I don't know why I keep getting booted out. Sorry.
that's okay. I'm not quite sure. Sometimes it happens. Today is a record though. So, uh, it's kind of nice that you knew you wanted to be a lawyer ever since you were a kid, right? And then you just followed your dreams. So that's such an awesome vision and fulfill it. That's amazing. So what does Douglas Law Firm specialize in? What
So
areas of
I would
law?
say me as a lawyer, my main areas of law that I do at the firm, it's real estate law. I do wills and estates. And then I have other lawyers at the firm. They do different areas. So I have two lawyers that do family law. I used to do family law a number of years ago, but I don't do it anymore. It's a great area of law, but for me, I didn't want to practice it forever. But we still do it at the office. And I have a lawyer that does corporate law, and there's a little bit of immigration as well. So different lawyers have different areas that they do, which is great, and they're all kind of interconnected. So I love it.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's nice. I mean, it's great that you do, the parts, the real estate law, and then, the wills and
Yep.
estates. I think those kind of go hand in hand, right? They have some sort of connection. So, where exactly are you located? I
Yes.
know you have a
So
couple
we
of
have an
locations, but
office in Barrie, an office in Bradford, and an office in Vaughan. But we're also virtual. So a lot of our clients, we can help from all over Ontario, which is nice. With COVID, they started to allow virtual signings. So it kind of expanded our area and our reach with different clients. I've had clients in Ottawa, I've had clients in London, Ontario. So it's been interesting to see how things have changed.
yeah, someone said, how about COVID law? So I guess that's what they're talking about. I'm not quite sure. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the question icon below or in the comment section. I'll try
Yes,
and keep up with
I
it.
do. Oh, not
Um,
Bradford, Bradford. I know it sounds similar,
Bradford.
but not yet. Yes, I am
But
virtual.
she's virtual. But she's virtual. Yeah, virtual
It is.
is quite amazing actually. Um, and
Yeah,
also
I know
Paris,
that is.
Ontario. Paris, Ontario. Yeah. Okay, perfect. You can connect. Follow her if you're not already following Douglas Law. And so when it comes to like some of the most common, legal issues that your clients face, like, what are some of those issues and how do you go
Yeah,
about
I would
addressing them?
say when it comes to real estate law, one of the biggest problems, or two problems actually, that I would say that we see is number one, making sure that clients get their mortgage in time when it comes to their purchase transaction. So I would say it's really important that they're, speaking to a mortgage agent and ahead of time and getting that approval. So that way, when it comes time, 2 weeks, 1 week before closing, we're not still waiting for mortgage instructions. And I know banks and institutions are very busy nowadays, but it's really important to just, stay ahead and make sure that you're working with closely with your mortgage agent and getting that approval in time. I mean, if it comes down to the wire and I'm getting mortgage instructions 2 days before closing, we're still going to make sure that it gets closed. We'll just drop everything that we're doing. But, you want to avoid that stress. Moving is already stressful enough. So we want to make sure that the process is very seamless. So just being organized with your mortgage agent, I would say, is one big thing. And another big thing I would say, if you're separating, make sure that you have a separation agreement before your closing date, or make sure that you're at least working towards it, just because usually the selling lawyer, they're going to be holding those sale proceeds in trust until they see a separation agreement or a court order. I know some lawyers still might release money, but I would never do that. I have to see a court order or a separation agreement before I release any funds to the parties. So that's one big thing that people maybe forget about. If you're separating and you're selling your matrimonial home, make
Mhm.
sure you have that separation agreement or court order.
Oh, that's a really good one. Thank you for that because I mean, most people don't really realize. I mean, there's so much involved with moving and selling your home. We try and be on top of it. Like for clients that, work very closely with me, I'm like on top of them. I'm like, you know, did you get this? Have you done this? Like, not to natter with them, but just to help them not be stressed out at the tail end, right? Because when they're stressed, we're stressed. Right? So with real estate law, what types of real estate transactions does
So
your firm
we
handle?
mainly do almost everything but litigation. So we do purchases, we do sales, we do refinances, title transfers, survivorship applications. I don't do litigation. And one big thing that we don't do that I probably should consider doing is landlord and tenant, because I know there are a lot of issues with that, especially during COVID. But yeah, those are the things that we don't do. But we do purchases, sales, mortgages, refis, title transfers, and survivorship applications.
Yes, the landlord tenant board is extremely busy and
It is.
backlogged
Honestly,
right
I just had a
now.
client, they had an issue where a tenant wouldn't move out. It took them 8 months to get a court date. So it was a really long time. And you got to also be careful when you're purchasing a property with a tenant in it. Oh, you do that. Yes, we should talk. If you're purchasing a property with a tenant, again, you want to make sure that you have the right clauses in the agreement of purchase and sale so that if the tenant doesn't move out, you know what your next step would be.
Yeah, that is a really
Yeah.
hard one. Chantal, if you'd like to get on the show, feel free to message me. I don't want to be rude, but this is Douglas Lodge
I'll
time with me,
definitely
so sorry about that. But you can definitely get in touch with me. Um, yeah, so that when it comes down to, even for us as realtors, right? Especially if your client wants, possession, right? They want free and clear possession. It's really tough these days. It's really, really tough. We have to, be very mindful of the
Yep.
occupancy
And
of the
it's even just
property.
being,
Right.
proactive, and even before you're putting an offer in on a home, maybe collaborate with the lawyer and just see what types of clauses that you should put in that offer, or to make sure that the buyer is
Mm.
protected. And I'm having that issue right now. So we customized a clause for our buyer clients, probably I think about 2, 3 months ago. And we made sure that if the tenant didn't move out, there was an action plan, there was a next step on what would happen if the tenant was still there on closing. So that way, we make sure our client gets their deposit back, or maybe if they want to extend the deal for an extra 30 days at their discretion, they can do that. So really leaving the ball in their court to decide what to do.
Mhm.
And yeah, so their agent came to me ahead of time, and we kind of customized a clause to our client's liking and then put that in. Honestly, to this day, the tenant's still in the property. So the client's looking for another home, which is just unfortunate. But again, it's just being careful and making sure that you talk to your lawyer, right? And keeping them be involved in the process ahead
Right.
of time.
Yes. There's only so many times you can get kind of you can you can run into a situation to that effect and not learn um, from it, right? Like for me as an agent, right? Like you just do so much more the next time because you don't want to run into the same situation. But right now, I think we're getting more because there's such a delay and such a backlog. I think it's a bigger issue than it ever
Oh,
was. Don't
oh
you
my
agree
gosh,
with
it is
that?
such a huge
Or
issue. That's why I kind of wish I did that area of law just to help people. But yeah, it's definitely a problem that's going on right now. And I think I heard that they were going to be adding more benches so that the cases can be heard more quickly. I don't know where they're at in that process, but hopefully that gets done.
yeah, I had a question about family law, and I know you don't specialize in it, but I know your company does. And but I was just looking at some, common family law matters um, that you see clients seeking assistance for, and how to. I mean, family law is very emotionally charged, and how to navigate that piece. If you can just help us with that, if you can. If not, I'll ask next
Yeah.
time.
Oh, honestly, during COVID, you even saw a lot of, um, family law matters coming up, and it's definitely very emotional. And one of the reasons why I'm not practicing it right now is just because your clients do require a lot of your attention. And with the other areas that I do, I couldn't just give all of the attention that they needed. So what we're seeing now, the two lawyers at my firm that do family law, they do separation agreements, they do marriage contracts, cohabitation agreements. They help people through the litigation process. So if it does end up in court, our lawyers go to court and they're there with our clients through the process through A to Z. We do uncontested divorces as well. So if they're just looking to get the divorce order, we can help with that. We don't do CAS matters, but other than that, there's a wide range of things that we can help with when it comes to family law.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be quite tricky, I guess, eh? But wills and
Yes.
estates, that's something you specialize in. Um, so what services do you offer in that? Like, I know there's probably like a ton of services that people haven't turned their minds to. So, yeah, what services do you
So
offer
I do
in that
wills. I
department?
can help you draft your will. We do secondary will. So maybe if you own shares in a corporation and you want to keep that separate, we can do a secondary will as well. And then I can draft a power of attorney for personal care, power of attorney for property. And yeah, it's myself and I think four other lawyers at my firm. We all do wills and estates.
Yeah.
And then on the estate end, if somebody has passed away and the executor needs to get probate, so the certificate of appointment of estate trustee with or without a will, I myself can do that. And there's a couple other lawyers at the firm that can do it as well. And yes, intestate is one of the worst things that you can do. I mean, the way that I say it is this: would you rather say what happens to your estate on your passing, or do you want the government to decide what happens to your estate? And I'm pretty sure you don't want the government to decide. And there's a lot of little things that people don't know. So for example, if you're common law and you pass away without a will, depending on how you take ownership of your assets, your common law partner is, sorry, shit out of luck. They don't have those same entitlements that a married spouse does. So, and then you get into not an issue, but, you have blended families and just, sometimes you just need that legal advice, and maybe you have somebody that's on ODSP or they have a disability, so you need to make a special trust within your will. So it's really important to speak to a lawyer and make sure you get the proper legal advice.
Wow. I should have just started talking about this topic because it looks like this.
I'm very
this topic is
passionate when it comes to
I mean,
wills and powers of attorney because I really think that everybody should have it. And, nobody likes talking about death. It's not a fun thing to talk about. I get it. But we try to make the process very easy for everybody and really just help guide them through it. And it really doesn't take much. It's really just 2 appointments. The first appointment is a consultation. We get everybody prepared ahead of time and let them know what we're going to be talking about. And then the second appointment is when we meet in person and we go over the documents together, make any necessary revisions, and then they sign it and go home with it. So, again, not a fun topic to talk about, but you really want to make sure that you say what happens to your estate on your passing, because if there's one thing that's guaranteed, we're all going to die at some point. So just get it done.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think, when it comes down to wills, I think people procrastinate, right? I think it's like they'll get to it at some point and they just, don't, right? Yeah, I think sometimes you just
Yep.
procrastinate and you
Just
never
on a
get
bucket
there,
list, and you get to it whenever you get to it. So when I go, I do a lot of conventions or seminars and shows. And when I do these shows, I always have a raffle for a free will and powers of attorney and kind of force people to talk about it when they my booth, just again because I think it's so important. And yeah, I'm giving away free wills and powers of attorney all the time. So if you ever catch me at a show, make sure you enter. But yeah, definitely something that people procrastinate on for sure.
I did notice that last show that you were
Oh,
on.
which
What
one?
show was that again?
A couple
Um,
weeks ago,
the,
I think I did 3 shows in 1 week, and I have another two coming up next week. I did the Canadian Black Expo, I did the New Market Home Show, and I also did the Buzz Conference just a couple weeks ago.
oh, nice. Oh, I think it was a New Market Home Show. I saw your booth and it said
Yeah,
enter for a free
yeah,
will, and I was like,
it's a
oh,
great show.
cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Excellent. So when it comes down to commercial and corporate law, what parts do you cover
Yeah, so I have
at
a
your
lawyer. Her
firm?
name is Cassie. She's amazing. She comes from a corporate background and she does all of the corporate matters. So if you're a realtor and you need to get your PREC, your personal real estate
Hmm.
corporation done, she can do it for you. Or if you're just another company and you're looking to get incorporated, she can do the articles, the whole organization of the company. If you need a shareholder agreement, or maybe you're leasing a unit, she can look over the lease for the company and help negotiate it. There's a lot of things that she can do, or maybe if you're doing an asset purchase,
Oh,
we do that as well.
excellent. That is so cool. When it comes down to the prac, I do have a prac, and it's I mean, I paid $300 for a consultation with a firm, with
Yeah.
a accounting firm. It was the worst $300 of my life I spent, just because they had this webinar on Treb, and I thought, okay, since Treb is, I didn't use them, thank goodness. I went with a different company, and I actually was actually a little nervous because this law company was so cheap, and I'm like, but they're charging me, like, the guy told me $6,000.
Oh,
I don't know for what he was going to do, but yeah.
God.
And so I was like, and the lawyer on the other hand was a fraction, like a fraction of what, and I'm like, okay, is this legit? Like, because they're so cheap compared to this other guy. But anyways, that was my pet peeve. It was $300, worst $300 I spent in my
So
life,
you
but
spent three
it was
hundred
a lesson
dollars for
learned.
them to tell you that it was $6,000?
Yeah, it was a consultation. You had to
Oh,
pay for the
wow. Okay, so we don't charge
consultation.
when it comes to setting up a corporation, we don't charge a consult fee for definitely not $6,000. Nowhere near that. It's definitely a fraction.
Yeah,
Um, wow. Okay. I'll tell you what our fee is for
yeah,
realtors. I don't make it that expensive
crazy.
for realtors to get their prep done. And because we do real estate law too, like, I don't charge that much. So we charge $1,000 plus tax, and that includes all of the fees.
Perfect. That's good to know, just in case, because I know we have
Yeah.
realtors that come on the show, and if they don't have a prac and they're looking, they should get in touch. So how do you stay up to date with, changes in the legal industry, and, what steps do you take to ensure your clients receive the most current and
Yeah.
accurate legal
As
advice?
lawyers, we have our continuing education that we need to do every year. We call them
Mhm.
CPDs. And every year, more than once a year, we have CPDs on real estate law, wills, estates, every area of law. We have our CPDs in. So you pick and choose the ones that you want. So I'm always doing the ones for real estate, wills, and estates. So that's how we stay up to date. And I'm subscribed to various different legal journals. So I always get notifications in my phone, even notifications from the Law Society on different things that are changing. So we're constantly being fed information and joining seminars or CPDs.
Very nice. And what advice would you give someone who was thinking of becoming a lawyer or wanted to get into, what skills are essential for making?
Skills. I guess just, I don't know, just making sure that Well, even for me, I always said that, oh, I'm going to do corporate or I'm going to do criminal law. Open your mind and maybe expand, and don't be hesitant to try different areas of law. I had another friend and she wanted to do civil law, and she said that she would never do criminal, and it came to it. She went to a criminal law firm to do her articles, and she absolutely loved it. So you never know what area of law you might fall in love with. So keep an open mind when you're going through your studies and applying for articling positions. And just making sure you have a good mindset, stay positive, don't get discouraged if something seems too hard. I don't know, ask for help. I love to help students. I take in students myself. I'm always willing to help people if they have questions. I went to school abroad in the UK, and I love helping students. I can help any student, but I have a soft spot for students that go abroad for school, just because I know what it's like. And I'm always here to answer any questions that they might have. But I love being a lawyer. You know, it's really stressful. There's a lot of work involved. And any area of law that you do comes with, I would say, a different type of stress. But in the end, for me, it's worth it. I love it. I would have it no other way.
Yeah, so awesome. What do you see some of like as some of the biggest challenges in the legal industry? What do you think if like some of those challenges are, and like what should be done to address them, if nothing else?
I don't know if this answers your question, but one, like a huge pet peeve that I have, and I talk about it sometimes when I'm doing presentations for realtors, and actually there's a group of lawyers trying to change this right now. I don't know if you've ever seen this, you probably have, but there's people that will go around and they'll register liens or notice of security interest on homes. Nobody has any idea. They sign up, they're getting a water softener, they're doing something with their AC, furnace, whatever it might be. They sign up for this contract, and little do they know this notice of security interest becomes registered on their home. They have no legal advice on it at all. It's in the fine print, and they just never know until they are refinancing their home or they're selling their home. So what needs to change is I don't think anything should be registered on anybody's house without having legal advice. So that is a huge pet peeve that I would say a lot of lawyers have, and that's something that should be changed in my opinion. I just don't think anything should be registered against someone's home when they're signing up for these agreements and they really have no idea. I don't know if that answers your question, but that is a huge pet peeve of mine.
That and you know it's odd that you bring up this topic. This is like
Yeah.
my biggest pet peeve, and you know I can't say enough because sometimes it's not the ones. Okay, sometimes you know you sign stuff people which people don't read and they sign, but it's even worse when it's the vulnerable. You know, I deal with a lot of
Yeah.
clients who are older, and those are the ones they target. And I know they stop this door-to-door sales, but it's not totally stopped because they can still come in for a thermostat, like, you know, so it's, I know we only have 2 more minutes left,
I would
and we
love
can talk
to
about this another
go
day
whole
because I'm happy to
presentation
jump on
on
that
it. Trust me,
bandwagon.
it's such a huge pet peeve of mine.
Perfect. Someone's asking. Actually, I know who the
Else
someone is,
from
but
that.
anyways.
Not really a power of attorney. See, that's what we're trying to change. We're trying to change so that they can't do these registrations on title without them first going to a lawyer. Unfortunately, it happened to somebody even in my own family. At this point, door to door was still around, and they had a water softener.
Mhm.
And I think it was about 10 years later, they still owed $7,000 to get it off. The water softener is not even worth that amount. It was just, it's so ridiculous. To answer your question, honestly, there's not much that can be done to protect them. I mean, you can fight it, but then you have to weigh the costs. Like, how much is it going to cost you to fight the contract?
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. You have to be really careful. That's why, yeah, yeah.
Let's do another show on that one. Let's to do another show on that one for sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how else to get it through to people. Like this, if you need something, you don't need to call or sign these contracts or get into this
Yeah.
huge, there's other ways around it, right? But I know it's 6:30 and you have to go. But as we wrap up, like tell everyone how to get in touch with you. I'd love for them to follow you. You do some really good videos and very educational pieces too. So tell everyone how they can
Yeah,
follow
so
you
my
and where they
business
can reach you.
account, it's douglas.lawfirm on Instagram. I also have my personal page, I guess you can say. I think it's melissa.a.douglas. If you type in Melissa Douglas, you'll probably find me on there. But yeah, on my Instagram, I like to do little informational videos. I try to post at least something once a day. And you can always email me. I'm pretty accessible, melissa@douglaslawfirm.ca. Give the office a call and ask to speak with me. And yeah, those are the different ways.
Perfect. Well, I want to
No
thank
problem.
you for spending your time with us today. I so appreciate it because I know you're a wealth of knowledge. I follow you myself. And for all of you watching today, I always appreciate your time when you spend with us on the show. So until next week or until next time,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Bye.
I'll see you. Bye.